Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine 18 Tarot and Books. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome or welcome back. In this video, I am VRing to three girls with hashtag tarot habits. And this is a tag that started off in one of the three girls' live chats. I will link that below. I attended most of it live and had a fabulous time. If you're not already kind of signing up for notifications for each live, you should pause me and you should go do that because they are great fun. And I like this tag, tarot habits. So some of these things I've talked about a little bit before on my channel, some more than others, but I like how this kind of gathers things in a particular sort of way with these 7 questions. And the tarot habits tag feels weirdly kind of timely at this time of year because it is the time of year where I'm thinking about my day planner setup for 2024. And, so as I'm setting up the day planners, I'm thinking about, the different kinds of habits that I have that might be monthly, might be, seasonal, might be daily, things like that, in terms of how I represent all of those things or make space to document those things. So the idea of thinking about habits right now, this makes sense, particularly the first couple of questions, thinking about when we read. So without further ado, I'll timestamp myself. Number 1, what is your regular tarot routine? And here a tarot routine as kind of a daily draw, for example. I have a daily practice that is always in the morning. I will perform a Sphere of Protection, which is a druidry ritual that is like a kind of shielding, energetic, rebalancing kind of a personal ritual. Then I go into the second part of my daily routine right after that, which is to kind of observe and maybe take a few notes of the weather, of anything astrologically kind of interesting. I tend to read an astrological forecast as well at that time in the morning. So just kind of checking in with the energy of the day in terms of the kind of the weather and then the kind of astrological weather above that. And once I've done that, then I, complete the final part of that energetic kind of check-in with 3 cards. And my 3 cards are 2 tarot and then 1, I'll say oracle, but like something else. The one something else could also be an ogham, for example, but generally oracle. And I tend to use the same 3 spread positions every time, which are kind of what's up today, like what's going on today, how do I navigate that in the best way, and then a kind of advice or reminder or a nudge from the oracle. Other variants that I like are kind of what's energetically going on today, how does what's going on today land for me or impact me, and then with the oracle as a kind of advice or remember this. So sometimes I kind of, as I'm thinking about this, as I'm shuffling, sometimes I word these things a little bit differently, but there's always a kind of position 1 that's kind of like what's up, what's going on, a bit more, is a bit more predictive almost, like what is up today, something about how I need to be dealing with that, and then a kind of nudge at the end, something to carry with me throughout the day from the oracle card at the end. So that is my regular tarot / oracle / druidry check-in in the morning. And so that's before work on weekdays, and on the weekends is a little bit more flexible. Maybe it's like after breakfast or something. Question number 2, and this is the one that had me thinking about my day planner. Do you read or do readings for any particular occasions / observances? And yes, definitely. Quite a few. I really like occasions and observances. So I always have a reading for myself on my birthday. And it tends to be right on my birthday. Occasionally, maybe the day before, if I know that my entire birthday day is taken up with something else, but that is very rare. Generally, it isn't. I will take the birthday day off work and kind of have a day to myself is kind of my go-to. So usually it is on the day. I will do a birthday reading. And I don't have one spread that I do every single year or anything necessarily. I kind of look around and find something that speaks to me and have a reading for my birthday. I always now do the card of the year reading by my friend Sarah of Waterchild Tarot, which looks at, the card of the year and how you might experience your card of the year, how you might navigate your card of the year. And this I think of as for an observance, in the sense that it's a kind of year ahead. I don't have a specific day that I do this on. It would be some point in December. And I will put that somewhere in my day planner or kind of page a day book for the year, so that I can kind of refer back to it throughout the year and see how that card of the year plays out. I tend to do some kind of year ahead reading, perhaps on New Year's Eve if I'm not drinking heavily by the time I think of doing it. I do have some kind of year ahead reading for sure. I have done the kind of one card per month for the 12 months approach, but I tend to prefer something other than that. Again, not the same spread every year, but I tend to prefer something else, because I find with those really, really far ahead readings that are very general, kind of give me a card for next November, it tends to feel less and less accurate or relevant the further along in the year it goes. I would almost rather just pick a card of the month every month if I was going to do that, rather than picking them all in the December previous. If you have a favorite, year ahead reading that isn't the card of the month, please put it in the comments, because I would love to know. I really go different directions with this in different years. And, I've been trying over the last several years to try to become more aware of more kind of natural seasonal cycles. So things like solstices and equinoxes, things like the moon phases and lunar cycle and the sun sign, like the sun seasons, and shift away from week, month, and, this kind of Gregorian calendar kind of way of keeping track of things. So as of now, the observances that I read for really reflect that kind of shift. So I read for myself on solstices and equinoxes in the context of Druid ritual for sure, with my Wildwood Tarot. I read for myself. It has been first quarter moon, full moon, last quarter moon, and new moon for those 4. But I'm in a class right now, a Magic of the Moon class with Stars Dance Mystery School, which I follow on Patreon. And they have great kind of follow the moon forecasts and different kinds of things. And this Magic of the Moon class, I'm paying more attention to the moon cycle as it goes through. So now I've been reading for all of the moon phases. So having kind of 8 readings instead of 4, including in the kind of crescent and waxing gibbous and waning gibbous and waning crescent. So that's been really interesting. And I'm not sure, whether that is a rhythm that I'm going to stick with. They're quite small readings that I've been doing, like 3 cards at each phase. So I'm enjoying kind of feeling into a moon phase kind of ritual approach to tarot. I will also do a kind of forecast reading on the first day of each sun sign. I use geomancy for this though instead of tarot, because geomancy I think is very well suited to a kind of general season ahead reading because of its basis in the astrological houses. So I do read on those times. If I can find a reason, then I will do a reading, not that I can't make life decisions without it or something, but if I observe a holiday or any kind of observance, then I'll find a way to tack a tarot reading onto that observance. It's always there for me. So that's the ones that came to mind though when I was answering this question. So question number 3, how do you shuffle? This is a good question. I am a bridge and riffle overhand combo. I have a deck in my hands. I don't know if holding it up, I'll be able to do this very nicely, but I will. Nope. The answer is no. The cards are going to fly all over the place. if I do that. I will do that on the tabletop. Well, shit. I will do the riffle and bridge and riffle. Can't do it on camera, obviously. I swear that I'm good at it in real life. I play a lot of card games too, so I do think I'm a fairly decent shuffler, contrary to what you've just seen. I will do the bridge and riffle at least once per spread position, which is a weird quirk, but there it is. If I'm doing a 5-card reading, I want to bridge and riffle at least then 5 times for the 5 spread positions, and then I will always do some overhand. It's always the bridge first and then overhand towards the end. And when I feel like I'm done, then I cut the cards into 4 piles and I pick the pile that speaks to me. If I'm reading for someone else, I'll have them pick the pile. I only cut into 4 piles with tarot. If it's oracle, I only cut once. I have no idea why that is, but that's just what has stuck. If a deck is really, really large, I might do the overhand kind of end to end. But other than that, it's a riffle and an overhand shuffle is my preferred. If the cardstock is like unriffleable, then I will just overhand. The idea of putting all the cards on the table and like mishmashing them around is not for me. So that's the one that I don't do. Question number 4. Do you have rules about what kinds of questions you ask and answer? Yes, I think so. I feel like this is usually a kind of question that is framed in terms of reading for other people. And, a lot of people will say, I don't do kind of medical diagnostic questions when reading for other people. I don't do kind of legal advice questions when I'm reading for other people. And that's true. I would not do a medical diagnostic or a legal advice question. I'm not going to do, am I pregnant? It's like, I'm not who you should ask, There's better ways to find that out than asking me. So those kinds of questions I would not answer for other people. The other things that I wouldn't do are things like identifying which deity is trying to connect with you, messages from deceased relatives, these kinds of, channeling kind of approaches to things. It's not because I have any issue with this. It's just not a thing that I do. It's not a thing that I do in my personal practice. It's not something that I would accept money from someone else to do for them. I think that there are people who, this is their skill set and I'm not one of them. It's weird to think of that as like a rule. It's just something that I wouldn't do. I don't do physical health related readings in any way for myself either. I don't think reading for myself poses any of the kind of ethical dilemmas, we'll say, or legal dilemmas even, of reading for other people for pay. But I still don't do physical health readings for myself because my generalized anxiety has at times manifested in, fear that things are wrong with my health, hyper scrutiny of, my body and what it's doing. And, I feel like reading anything related to physical health for myself would have so much of a potential to aggravate that kind of anxiety that I don't go there. I mean, it's just not something that I would ever think about doing for myself. I also don't read about intimate relationships and partnerships that I am in. I don't really have any issue with these like for other people, but I don't do any of the kind of, I wonder what they're thinking about me, or like I wonder, we've had a disagreement. I wonder how we could navigate that. I wonder what my partner's, gonna do about this. I just am the kind of person that I would never ask the cards what a partner is thinking because I'd rather just go ask them. I I feel like that kind of thing could potentially feed into anxiety as well. But that's not even the main reason that I wouldn't do something like that for myself. I just don't read about my partnerships because I would rather talk it through, So that's not something I'll do for myself. It's again, is it a rule? I don't know. It's not a thing that I do though. So that's not something that I ask. Question number 5 is spreads or no? And my answer is sometimes. I like reading with spreads. I also really like very much more kind of free form style reading. I tend to I would say if I was going to prefer a more free form style. I really like the 9-card box. I like the kind of 9-card diamond shape as a way to read as well. I like just kind of having 3 cards out and reading them kind of as talking to each other in different kinds of ways, looking at where, figures are facing and things seem to be flowing together and without a specific question or prompt per position. But I also feel like there's a lot of people in our tarot community and tarot tube community who make really good, interesting spreads and make really good, interesting sets of prompts. And so I like to try those out for myself and for others. And I also like making my own. So both for spreads or no. Question number 6 is reversals or no. And this is also kind of a sometimes. I like reversals more when I'm doing the kind of freeform style without a spread because I feel like they can give a kind of context that otherwise a spread position would be giving. If I have a spread position of, an obstacle to avoid, let's say, and in that spread position, the sun comes up, generally a very positive card. I know then that I would be reading something like the sun reversed because here it's the sun as an obstacle, right? Whereas if I'm reading freeform, you don't have that prompt, so reversals tend to appeal more to me. However, I'm going away, further and further from reversals, and I'm going to blame Robert M. Place and his book because he talks about reversals and why, he has another idea that he prefers, which I will just read very briefly from page 274. He writes, some people believe that it is necessary to use upside down cards to increase the vocabulary of the cards by allowing for more possibilities. But in fact, this only doubles the possibilities. When we use 3 cards as one statement, instead of a single card, however, we find that we have 456,456 possible combinations. If we use 3 cards for each position in a more complex reading, then we have 456,456 for the first position, 405,150 for the second, and 357,840 for the third. With 1 card for each, with reversals as a possibility, we only have 156 for the first, 154 for the second, and 152 for the third. It is not necessary to confuse the reading with upside down images. So I read this and I kind of was like, oh, obviously, this makes a ton of sense. And so now when I'm reading a spread, I don't tend to pick 1 card per position. I want 2, at least. Sometimes 3, often 2. I'm constrained by space, but 2 is good. So reversals occasionally. Not usually, but occasionally. Question number 7, and the last question, is multiple decks or no? Yes, but not multiple tarot decks together, as of yet. I really like pairing a tarot and an oracle. I do that every day as part of my tarot routine, as previously mentioned. I like putting tarot beside Ogham. I like putting tarot beside the elemental divination dice oracle. That's an oracle that plays well with others. That one is really good. I will read with multiple oracle decks. I like to mix different decks a lot, But 2 tarot decks, I think that a tarot card repeating would bug the shit out of me. So I haven't tried it. I think that if I combined tarot decks in a reading and I got like 2 moons, I mean, yes, I could read that as a particular kind of emphasis, or a kind of a strengthening of a message, but like to me it would just seem strange. I don't think that I would like that. Even the possibility of this happening, I think, would really irritate me. So yes to multiple decks, no to multiple tarot decks. I really like to design spreads where there's kind of designated spread positions for different kinds of decks, if that makes sense. So I'll have, maybe I'll design a tarot spread, but then there'll be one prompt at the end that is specifically worded in such a way that I know I'm going to be drawing an animal card as like an end to the reading. I don't use things like clarifiers. Clarifiers to me always just felt like you didn't like the card you got, so you drew another one. To me, the way that I would clarify a reading is by leaving it on the table and walking away for an hour and then coming back. But I do really like drawing specific cards for specific positions. Maybe a crystal card could come up, or an herb. There's lots of different kinds of oracles that I feel like work really well for a specific kind of spread position at the end. Occasionally with a spread, I'll draw 1 tarot card and 1 oracle card for each position. So like if it's a 5 position spread, I'll end up with 10 cards, 5 tarot and 5 oracle with 1 for each, and then I'll kind of read them in combination. I really like playing around with things like that, but multiple tarot decks, no. I don't like what could happen. So that's my tarot habits. I look forward to hearing other folks' tarot habits as well. Again, if you haven't seen the live chat, do click in the link below and go see 3 girls answer their own questions. I'll see y'all again soon. Have a good one. Bye.